Your task for this project is to create a real-life story problem in which you can use right triangles to find the solution. So you're going to apply what you've learned about the Pythagorean theorem and the legs and the hypotenuse of a triangle and create a story problem that involves finding the missing side length. So your project will be assessed on the following, meaning this is what you're graded on: the level of complexity, how challenging it is; your thoroughness when writing your story problem; how accurate and detailed your problem's diagram is; how accurate your calculations are; color and neatness, so your poster must be colored and it must be neat; and spelling and grammar. Before beginning your poster, you're going to want to review the scoring guide on the back of this page to make sure you've included all the information. You could also make a rough draft, write out your story problem before you put it on your poster paper. The project will be scored as a 30-point quiz, so you want to take your time and put your best effort forward. And then on the back of your poster, you must include the answer key and work out the problem. So on the front, you're not going to solve the problem. It's just going to be like a story problem from a textbook. And then on the back, you're going to do the solution on it. Have fun, be creative, and use your time wisely. This is due Tuesday, April 3rd. So you have today in class to work on it. And then what you don't finish, you'll need to take home and make sure that you bring it back when you come back from break. Flip to the back real quick of your paper. This is what you're going to be scored on. So you need to make sure you have your name on the poster. You need to have a title for the problem on your poster. It needs to be neat and have color to it. The spelling and grammar is worth 4 points, and the problem also must be creative. So using a problem that's already been done in a textbook is not creative. Come up with your own situation. Then you have category or scores for all 4 of these categories from a 4 to a 0. So level of complexity at a 4, if you want a 4, your problem should include multiple steps, have decimal numbers greater than 40, and with a leg and the hypotenuse given. So in this story problem, someone would be solving for the other leg of the triangle. A 3 would have decimal numbers between 20 and 40 with a leg and the hypotenuse given. A 2 would have decimal numbers between 10 and 20 with 2 legs given. And a 1 is problems between 10 and 20 with 2 of the legs given. A 0 is the numbers are all less than 10. So you're going to want to make sure that all your numbers are at least above 10. Then your written description needs to be a clearly written story with a clearly stated question that requires the triangle theory to solve. And then it just goes down from there. In order to see if your description is clear, you might want to write your problem out as a rough draft and then give it to your partner and see if they understand what you're asking. You need to have a diagram of the problem, so it needs to be appropriate and eye-catching, and also needs to have the measurements on it that are given in the story problem. If you're missing the measurements, then it gets knocked down a point, and if it's sloppy, it gets knocked down more points. And then your solution key, your answer key, needs to be on the back. So to get a 4, you need to have 100% accuracy to the nearest tenth. So that's 1 number after the decimal point. And then the points drop down for small errors all the way down to a 0 if you have no solution. So it's worth 30 points. And it's a quiz grade, so you're going to want to make sure that you really take your time doing this. I'm going to show you an example of what a perfect score problem would be. Okay, so you can see that I have the title on it. It's called The Drone, and I'll zoom in here and read you the problem. It says, Gabe is flying his drone above the SHS construction site. When the drone is directly above the main entrance, the drone app says the drone is 65 feet off the ground and 230.8 feet away from the controller. If Gabe is holding the controller, how far away from the main entrance is he standing? So there's a clear question there. And then in my diagram, you can see that I gave them the hypotenuse, 230.8 feet was Gabe from the drone. The drone was 65 feet above the entrance. And then I put a question mark on what they're finding. The question said, how far away from the main entrance is he standing? And so this is what they're trying to find out. Notice that I have details, I have color, I have a clear diagram with the measurements on it. The question is clear, the spelling and grammar is all appropriate. And then on the back side, you need to have the solution. So my solution clearly shows that my work, I had the hypotenuse squared minus the leg squared. I showed all my work, showed the part where I took the square root of the difference, and then I rounded to the nearest tenth, and I wrote my answer in a sentence. Gabe is standing 221.5 feet away from the entrance. If you want to look at this example more, it's on a link after this video on Google Classroom.